Welcome back to the Downcourt Podcast. I'm your host, Drew. Today we are talking the first round of the WNBA Playoffs. The Minnesota Lynx knocked the Golden State Valkyries out of their first ever playoff appearance in 2 games. The Mercury and Liberty are going to Game 3. Aces win a tight one in Game 3 against the Storm. And the Fever have upset the Atlanta Dream to move on to the second round. Let's take a look at the updated playoff picture here. With the Fever beating the Dream, they will now face the Aces in the second round. The Lynx will face the winner of the Mercury and Liberty series. Now, before we go and talk about a second round matchup, let's talk about this huge upset for the Indiana Fever against the Atlanta Dream. The Dream came to play. The Dream, I thought, played well in this one. They showed up really early. They actually led from the second quarter all the way deep into the fourth quarter until, I want to say, in the final minute or two. Ryan Howard, Brianna Jones, Alicia Gray, and Jordan Canada all finished in double-digit points. Jordan Canada, I thought, was really special in this game. It ended up with 18 points, 10 assists, 3 rebounds. Really no production from their bench. Pal Pal finished with 6 points. Brittany Griner, 5 points, 1 assist, 0 rebounds. And on the other side, really gritty performance, as we've come to know from this Fever team. Stephanie White just coaching her ass off and really putting them in a position to win at the end of this one. Kelsey Mitchell, who has been one of the most prolific scorers in the league this year, finished with 24 points. And then you had a lot of people contributing in this one. Odyssey Sims, 16 points. Aaliyah Boston, 14 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists. A great performance from her. We had Natasha Howard with 12 points, Lexi Hole with 10. And that's really was a key for me in this matchup. Is Lexi Hole going to be able to contribute in the point section? Because the last game, I mean, was just awful for her shooting wise. So she was able to kind of turn it around here. It's interesting to me how Caitlin Clark is not playing the series with her injury. They have people like on Odyssey Sims that came in very late to the season. Aerial Power, Shape, Petty. A lot of these players have not really played together for a good portion of the season, and now you just see the coaching come in. You see the strategy come in. Everyone has been ready when it's been their moment. They've answered the call every time, and look what happened. When it got tight in this game, this Fever team who's played with their back against the wall for a lot of this season, who felt like there was a point where maybe they wouldn't make the playoffs, even if they made the playoffs without their star player and Caitlin Clark. How much can they really do in this playoff run? They seal the game with defense at the end of the game. That's what they've just fallen back on for a good portion of this season is defense, defense, defense. And that's what really won this game. When he got to the end, the Dream actually had 3 opportunities at the end of this one to take the lead. They don't get the go ahead. They fail to inbound the ball properly, and then they get the Lexi Hull gets the steal. They foul, and then you're down 2 points with 7 seconds left. And again, just could not get the ball inbound. And then when you finally do get the ball in, you have Brianna Jones just hanging out on the 3-point line, not knowing what to do. So really good job for the Fever, not letting the Dream get the ball to their playmakers in a Ryan Howard or Alicia Gray that could have put you in jeopardy to lose the game there. Where do the Dream go from here? I mean, their roster is built. They have their pillars of their roster. I think they're going to have some conversations of what they want to do with Brittany Griner, because some portions of the season, even I feel like through the ebbs and flows of games, there's been times where she's a big focus of the team and the offense, and then there's times where she literally doesn't contribute. And I don't think they ever settled on, are we a team that is going to throw the ball down low and let her cook, or are we going to, spread it out and let our shooters get hot? And when it was all flowing perfectly, it looked great. But I think there is some of that lack of consistency in the game planning that threw them for a loop for a portion of this season. But they're going to be fine. This is a good team. I think they clearly hit on the draft pick with Tiana Pow Pow. And as long as they bring back a good portion of their core, I think they'll be fine. The Fever, on the other hand, I was not expecting them to really put up the amount of fight that they showed in this series. And I don't think a lot of people were picking them. I think the Fever posted a picture where all the analysts picked the Dream would win this series 2-0. I think the question that raised for me now is what happens with Caitlin Clark? Does Caitlin Clark try to make an attempt to play in the second round now? Now that I could understand her sitting this first round and kind of assuming, wishing for the best, but assuming the worst. Like, we're probably not going to win this series. Now that the Fever have moved on and are going to face the Las Vegas Aces, should Caitlin Clark try to play? I mean, it's interesting. The Aces aren't this dominant powerhouse of a team that we've seen from them in the past. They are beatable. And in fact, let's go ahead and talk about the Aces here, because this game against the Storm was close. Another game where the Aces led from early in the second quarter all the way down to the very end. Storm actually fought back and took the lead at one point very late in this game. And again, Storm had the chance to win it at the end, but just great defensive play from the Aces. Didn't let them get a good shot in rhythm, and Storm missed it at the buzzer to lose. A'ja Wilson is the story here. Your co-defensive player of the year. 38 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. And let's just face it, I know you got contributions from Jackie Young, you got contributions from Chelsea Gray, and that's about it. This was A'ja Wilson putting the team on her back and carrying them throughout the season and now throughout the playoffs. And this is, I understand that Napheesa Collier is probably going to win the MVP, but at the end of the day, when Napheesa Collier was out for however many games, Kayla McBride and Jessica Shepard and Courtney Williams all stepped up and won them games. If A'ja Wilson was removed from this roster, this would be the worst team in the league. And maybe that's hyperbolic, but like, Jewell Loyd has been awful this year. Jackie Young has been inconsistent. Chelsea Gray has had really good moments. You got to a point where now you're trying to figure out, is Kirsten Bell, is Nalissa Smith going to be able to help contribute for us for this to win games? A'ja Wilson has carried this team to the 2 seed and carried them through this playoff series. I don't know if I've seen a more impressive season out of her, just because there's times where it felt like she hasn't really had help. It's been a lot of ISO ball. It's been a lot of throw the ball down to A'ja and everyone standing around waiting for her to score. And this is a game where, like, let's face it, yes, you had 26 combined from Gray and Young, but A'ja Wilson scored, I don't know, what, 70% of their points? This is a crazy performance. The Storm had no answer, and we figured that would be the case coming into this series. I mean, shout out Megabor for doing her best to try to contain A'ja. But I don't think there's a lot of players in this league that can really contain her right now. And looking at the Fever matchup with the Aces coming up, do the Fever have a chance in this series? I'm gonna say yeah, because if you look at the output of the other Aces, it's just not there. And if the Fever are able to score and play defense the way they have a shot. They'll have a better shot if they have Caitlin Clark. Looking over at the Fever, are they going to be able to just slow down A'ja Wilson a little bit? Aaliyah Boston, I know there's times she could get in foul trouble. Natasha Howard's getting older. Other than that, they don't have a lot of size that can really compete with A'ja. But then when you look at the flip side of that, do the Aces have guards that can compete with Kelsey Mitchell? No. Kelsey Mitchell might put up 28, 30 points on this Aces team. And so while this might seem like, oh, the 2 seed versus a 6 seed Fever team without a lot of their players, this is actually a really fun matchup to look at. And I'm interested to see like what the betting lines are going to be and how much the Aces are favored in this one, because I think there's going to be a pretty big spread leaning Aces, and the Fever are going to be a good cover for that. Because, I mean, just looking at what they did with the Dream, they have been outplaying expectations. So really good matchup in the second round. The Lynx and Valkyries, I just want to touch on that because the game 2 was really competitive from the Valkyries. This is the first year of this expansion team, their inaugural season. They it was one for the history books. They got head coach of the year in Natalie Nakase. They got the most improved player in Veronica Burton, who I think is a leader and cornerstone of this franchise now. They have multiple rookies. They have a couple of like second and third year players that are really good building blocks. They also have their first round pick. I don't know if I'm gonna butcher this name, but Yuste Yochite hasn't played for them at all. She should come in next year and really give them a boost. I hope they add a superstar scorer in this offseason and help add to what is already an amazing defensive team and help build a very strong offensive team. So great season for the Valkyries, and they went down to the wire with the best team in the league. The Valkyries in that game were leading by 17 points. They had a shot to win it at the end and just came up a little bit short. The Lynx, on the other hand, were just kind of playing with house money. If they lost that game, I think they would have had no pressure on them to go win the third one. They felt confident. They were the more talented team. Whoever they face in this next matchup, which we will talk about in a second, I think will be the tougher matchup than what the Aces are getting in the Fever. But this is a team that I do expect to make the finals, and it looks like it's shaping up to be a Lynx Aces finals matchup if everything goes the way I'd expect it to go. Uh, Even though we've already had one series go completely unexpectedly with the Fever beating the Dream, let's talk about the Mercury and Liberty matchup. This is game 3. First game was really close till the end. Liberty pulled away a bit in the fourth. They ended up winning by 7. This game 2 was total domination by the Mercury. I want to give the props to the Mercury, but I'm also want to acknowledge that this is kind of what we've seen from the Liberty this season. And the main sticking point that I've talked about with the Liberty is just the lack of cohesion, the lack of time that they've all played together, the lack of chemistry, and the injuries. The injuries have clearly affected the Liberty in the regular season, and now that everyone is back, it's not like they're playing at full strength. Brianna Stewart just looked like a shell of herself in this second game, and we've seen this season if Brianna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu are not playing at their full strength together, this is a completely different team. It helps each of them a lot when you have to be concerned with Brianna Stewart on one side and Sabrina on the other as a defender, and both of them can score at any moment. The way the Brianna Stewart's hurt, she is just a non-factor. She was a non-factor in this game, which helped the defense just key in on Sabrina, and she finished with 9 points also. The only one who finished in double-digit scoring was Misamin, who finished with 11. And so it was a rough outing for this starting lineup for the Liberty. On the other hand, the Mercury just came out with a great game plan. They wanted to attack Brianna Stewart in the pick and roll, and they did, and it worked great. They wanted to attack Sabrina Ionescu, and they did, and it worked. And they challenged the other Liberty players who aren't the star players to beat them offensively, and they couldn't. In game 1, you had Natasha Cloud putting up 23 points and Leona Phoebish putting up 10. And in this game, it was just a no-show for them in the scoring department. And what was missing is that third person scoring and keeping you afloat while your superstars are trying to find their grounding and nothing is hitting for them. But overall, great game planning by the Mercury. As confident as I was that this Liberty team was going to figure it out and be awesome in the playoffs and make another run at a title, just the way that the Mercury were able to dominate that game and how deep they are, I think they've found great rotation and great chemistry with rotating Bonner in, the way Sabali was able to score. And then you have Alyssa Thomas doing everything on the floor. You have people contributing. I mean, like 1 through 7. You have so many people contributing to the scoring, to the defense on this team. If there's a team that's going to compete with the Lynx, I feel really good about the Mercury because the Lynx have depth. The Lynx have they can go 1 through 8, 1 through 9, and I feel like the Mercury are the only team right now that can match that with the Liberty being so banged up. And so I'm gonna go Mercury here in this game 3. I don't know if this is gonna be like recency bias, but the way that I saw them dominate that game, not just physically but strategically, I have to go with them to win the next one. So let me know what your thoughts are on these playoff games. Please like, comment, subscribe. We have audio versions of this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, video version on YouTube, and go ahead and follow us on TikTok. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.